Alright, everyone, let's get real for a minute. We'll all deal with conflicts in our life, right? Whether it's at school, home, or with our friend. It happens, so I was thinking, why don't we talk about how we can actually fix the conflicts that we have to bring more peace into our life? I'll start by saying one that I have experienced, that when I have like some group project or something, I go straight forward to speak straight away with my friend with the solution or the problem that we have in the group project so that we understand each other and know what we're doing, and like we don't have to like be awkward with ourselves. So I think that being straightforward is the best way to solve conflicts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, of course. Like if we keep it with ourselves, of course we have negative feelings, but we can just like share ideas with our parents or friends. I do have one solution, which is doing some random stuff with anyone in order to make people you don't know be your friends. When we do these activities, the friendship will also help you to understand each other rather than arguing about some of these problems and conflicts. So, have you ever done anything with someone you've never met before?
Not really, but I have sometimes like been in some teams that in work that I'm not like familiar with, not like my best friend or something, and I feel like kind of awkward to be like that, but I still speak straightforward to them. So to like be solve the conflicts that we have in the group project. What do you think?
So I think that time is a big thing when it's come to conflict, because if you guys think about it, if you let a little, maybe just even a little disagreement goes on for too long, it's gonna cause a big problem later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, right. So let's say if there was a crack in the dam, and then you let that crack go on for a little bit longer, eventually it's going to break. So I think that when you guys have any kinds of disagreement, you don't have to go straight to talk right away. There can be time, but not for like long time. So yeah, you can maybe like observe and see that maybe they need help or something. You can just start by acting. You can just help him just a little bit, little by little. Even though if you guys hate to the point where you don't want to see each other's face, you can still help, because that shows how much you cares for another human being, maybe.
That is
Yeah, right? Yeah, right?
That was deep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that idea. It shows like you care for like another person that you're working with. And what about you, Ale? I've heard that you went on a speech, right?
Yeah, I know, right? But in my opinion, I think that as young people nowadays, they really play a huge role in solving these conflicts. But there's one thing I noticed is that the problem is we don't have enough opportunities to get involved with them. I think we should add more spaces where we can learn about different cultures around the world and learn how to handle different conflicts in different situations, such as through like community activities or community services, and even like interfaith dialogues within your group of friends. But one thing that we can't forget is that working together as a team is very important as well, because when we work with new people around the world, with like whoever it is like we don't know, or any new people, we get to learn how to accept other people's opinions and ideas, which allows us to open our hearts. And it kind of relates to what was said earlier, that honest communication is actually the key. We should learn how to be like more straightforward in order to solve anything.
Yeah, that's right. I think
know,
being
right?
honest like really solves everything when you talk to your team or like your project groups thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of communication, Ukrit, you've talked about how important communication is. How do you think it helps resolve conflicts?
I believe communication is everything. Without communication, we can never solve conflicts. Therefore, I have created a concept called Safe Tips.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know you guys
How
have
is it safe?
S stands for similarities. When we find common ground, we can easily build connection. A stands for ask. Instead of making assumptions, we should ask questions to understand others' perspective. This shows respect and helps us avoid misunderstanding.
I agree.
Two more, my friend. F stands for feedback. By giving constructive feedback, we improve situations and avoid hurtful feelings to others. E stands for empathy. By recognizing and valuing feelings of others, That is empathy, my friends, and you can build trust as a foundation from that. Therefore, I believe safe tips is a skill for all of us youth that we have to practice now more than ever.
Wow.
What a strong
Like,
implementation.
It was like a wise man's speech. But how did you even come up with that?
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
for sharing
I
that
love
idea.
that. Bukit said is a very helpful concept for solving conflict, I think. And it's more than just talking, it's about truly understanding each other. Ranggang, you mentioned earlier that activity help with communication. Do you think this fits with safe?
Of course, like when we communicate, it all can also accept the differences. So do you agree with me? While we
Yeah.
communicate while playing sports, for example, or
Yeah.
maybe playing some games, we have to communicate. And even though we might be from different nationalities, different beliefs or opinions, we'll be a team, a friend. And that is like the key point that can also destroy the line of conflict.
That's great. Totally agree. Activity not only break down walls but also build bridges. What about you, Tino?
So, as I was saying, don't let disagreements go on for too long. I don't like to deal with problems later. So, if there's any disagreement, just deal with it. Try to talk, try to help, try to care at least for another human being, as we are in the same planet together.
There's actually an idiom like put yourselves in others' shoes so that we can
Yeah.
understand others'
Yeah,
perspective.
that's true.
Exactly.
That's true. Okay, thanks, Tino. That's a great takeaway. And Boom, mentioned your can idea before. Can you explain how that helps us deal with conflict and building
Wait.
peace?
The name Can is very interesting.
Yeah, can.
I
Please
really
please
want to hear
explain.
that.
Yeah, I'm really
I'm all ears.
okay. I'm really eager to tell you guys about this. So Ukrit already mentioned about the safe communication tips, right?
Yeah.
For me
Yeah.
also, I have this concept called can to be used in my daily lives, and I wanted to share it for you all. So by decoding conflicts, I strongly believe that it all starts from ourselves. We don't really have to view in a wide perspective, because conflicts all comes from people who still remains their own fixed mindset, meaning that people who still cannot see the difference of perspectives of others are still isn't being accepting enough in what they are, who they are. So that is why for us to achieve peace, we have to apply this concept by starting with C. So C stands for change, right? Change. Yeah.
Change.
So the opposite term of fixed mindset is growth mindset, which is when you are being willing to learn and adapt and grow with others who you may see in the future. So it is important for us to reflect on our past mistakes and to shift our mindset from a fixed to a growth one. Yeah. And then after you have changed your mindset, then we go on to A, right? So A is accept. Yeah.
Yes.
So, as I've mentioned before, fixed mindset people are people who may still lack this skill. So that is why whether they have differences in their opinions, perspectives, or appearances, we just have to embrace them for who they are, because everyone has differences compared to each other, and that's totally okay. And yeah, it's the nature of humanity. So yeah, and lastly is now I also have seen you guys mention already a couple of times of doing it right now. You don't have to wait for someone to inspire you or any big movements to influence in your life, because it all comes back to yourself. And you, by implementing this can concept, I believe that you guys can achieve in peace and be able to solve the conflicts in our daily lives.
So it's
Yeah.
change, accept, now.
Yeah,
Very
can,
good idea.
can. You can think it as of like a can.
Can.
A can. Yeah, a bottle.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome, Boom. Can really brings it all together. Change, accept, and act now.
Yeah.
It's simple but powerful. How do you think that fits with all the rest of us being here?
Well, I think it fits like perfectly with everyone here. So starting off with Tang Tang, right? You mentioned about building and doing activities together, collaborating. So that builds acceptance over time. When at first you may not be familiar with each other, but over time you understand and how to adapt and be with them in that particular environment. And moving on to you, Tino, you mentioned about solving the conflicts quickly, like at this moment solve this crack like right now. Yeah. So it is also linked to this concept of doing it right now without having to wait or for anything. And then moving on to Pinkan, Ale. Yeah. So I also feel that youth, as we are youth, it is important to collaborate and change something in our society
Yeah.
with different skills that we all have. We should be contributing something for our future generations as well. And then moving on to grit, of course, the safe communication tips. This concept also can be aligned with my Can concept as well, because communication is openly communicating with others will make you understand and being able to know what you may lack or still have mistakes on, and you can change yourself up to the point where you can understand and accept the perspective of others. Yeah, so everything fits like perfectly.
Yeah, it ties together perfectly. Thanks Boom for that. And thanks everyone for sharing like this
Yeah,
concept,
sure. My pleasure.
idea, and like everything that we talked together. And I think peace starts with us.
Yeah,
That's true.
definitely.
Good call.
And now, I would like to ask the participants, how can you use your knowledge about conflict to suggest practical and realistic solutions in your project that help create peaceful and fair communities?